Good morning, beloved of God. On this fourth day since Sunday, I suppose. Wednesday in Holy Week. So I guess it is the fourth day of Holy Week, but interesting to note that. April 5th, we hear of Jesus coming betrayal as the passion of Christ, according to John, starts to unfold for us. Be invited to verse 21 in chapter 13 is where I'll meet you today. We'll gather at noon here at Cross of Hope for a little worship service. If you'd like to spend a little time in worship today, and we'll encounter this same gospel text. After saying this, you have to come in on Thursday at 7 to find out what the this was. Or just read back a little bit in your own devotion time here. But after saying this, Jesus was troubled in spirit and declared, "Very truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." The disciples looked at one another, uncertain of whom he was speaking. One of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was reclining next to him. So Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask Jesus of whom he was speaking. I find some humor in that scene right there. So while reclining next to Jesus, he asked him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus answered, "It is the one to whom I give this piece of bread when I have dipped it in the dish." So when he had dipped the piece of bread, he gave it to Judas, son of Simon Iscariot. After he received the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. Jesus said to him, "Do quickly what you are going to do." Now no one at the table knew why he said this to him. Some thought that because Judas had the common purse, Jesus was telling him, "Buy what we need for the festival," or that he should give something to the poor. So after receiving the piece of bread, he immediately went out, and it was night. When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you." Whoops, that is the rest of the story on Thursday. But important to note nonetheless, is it not? That this is the part here between our text that we have bookended on Monday, Thursday. But here we are on Holy Wednesday, or the Wednesday of Holy Week, which is, again, the title of our devotion as we just walk through these days together. It invites our focus to the 26th verse that we just encountered. So when Jesus had dipped the piece of bread, he gave it to Judas. If you want to share a devotion from Christ in our home and our partners here at Augsburg Fortress, be invited to read along if you'd like. I arrived at the hospital as a student chaplain and heard from my peers about a terrible scene the night before. A truck driver hit a young boy. Both were brought to the hospital by ambulance. The boy was pronounced dead. Our supervisor listened as my peers told the story, and then she asked one question. Who responded to the truck driver? Her question silenced us. No one, it seemed, had thought to give a moment of grace to someone who had surely unintentionally inflicted such harm. I can't read about Judas without thinking of this story. I want to give him a moment of grace. I want to see him. I want to recognize how everything can change in a moment. Jesus gave his very body and blood to his disciples, and Judas was there at the table. In the reign of God, there is expansive, eternal, limitless grace for every wounded and wounding heart. Freedom for all of us who cannot free ourselves. Pray together here this prayer. God of grace, turn our hearts toward all who hunger for forgiveness. For the sake of Jesus. Amen. And as this Wednesday of Holy Week unfolds for you today, again, be invited to worship here at Cross of Hope at noon if you would like, or continue in prayer throughout your day and include in those prayers those who are imprisoned. God continue to be with you and bless you on this journey through this week most holy.